Hi, I'm Bev Vote, publisher of the Breast Cancer Wellness magazine, and I want to take a few moments to share with you about my breast cancer experience. But to be frank with you, I'm not comfortable articulating my story and sharing my story, even though I do have an extraordinary experience to share. But I'm just not comfortable being on this side of the camera. I'm more of a behind-the-scenes type of gal, and that's the reason I publish the magazine and write and things like that, so that I can be behind the scenes. But for now, I'll share with you a little bit about my story. At age 38, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and the diagnosis came a year after I had been misdiagnosed by my medical team several times. And so when I was diagnosed in August of 1992 at the age of 38, my prognosis was bleak, and I was told repeatedly by my medical team that it wasn't a matter of if the breast cancer would return, it was a matter of when, and that it was most likely going to be aggressive and most likely terminal in its return. Because the medical world had little to offer me, little resources, very little hope, I felt that I was being placed in a situation to find the healing answers for myself. And this was before the internet, and I live in a small town. Our population may be 10 to 12,000, and at that time we didn't even have a bookstore in our town, and our little library, as wonderful as it is, it was great for children's books, romance, gardening, historical, but it had very little information about breast cancer. And so it was hard for me to find answers back then. But there were so many things that happened in my life, in my experience, that were serendipity. And we all have serendipity moments when our healing answers are trying to present themselves to us. When we're so afraid, it's hard to see those answers. So I remember the first time I had one of those serendipity moments. It was the very first day that everybody that had surrounded, my family and friends had surrounded themselves around me after I was diagnosed. And the very first day that everybody had gone back to work and school and back to their normal routines, I headed to my sunroom. And I had spent all that time while everybody had surrounded me, putting on that face that I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Don't you worry about me. I'm going to be fine. And I didn't want anybody to know how afraid I was. I didn't want anybody, my family, my husband, my business associates, anybody in town. And I hid that fear the very best I could. But that morning, in my sunroom, I cried. I sobbed. I started crying and sobbing in a way that I couldn't control it. And I was thankful that I could let all that pent-up emotion come. But after a while, it was so uncontrollable that it was sobbing and wrenching, and it went on probably for about 20 minutes. And I know this sounds dramatic, but it was both a release for me, but it was also a serendipity moment, because as I'm sobbing and in my own space of all those fears, I heard some birds chirping outside of my window, outside the sunroom window there. And I know, as crazy as this sounds, I know those birds were there for me. And I know they were telling me that I can do this and things are going to be fine. And I have learned since that time that nature speaks to us in many ways, but at that moment, it was God's way, in my belief, it was God's way of speaking to me. For the only thing that I could hear at that moment were that birds chirping, that I was going to be okay. I silenced myself from the sobbing and listened to the birds and connected with that feeling of, okay, I'm going to be okay, I can do this. That was one of my serendipity moments, and we all have them. And that is one of the things I like to teach to women, is to recognize their serendipity moments. And I know that when we're so afraid, we can't see some of the healing answers that are always right before us. And so that was one of my first serendipity moments. And from there, I've had many others. And because of those serendipity moments, I believe I'm alive today. One of my greatest heroes is Mother Teresa. She's got a poem, and I'm not for sure that it's really a poem, but it's words that speak about the ordinary person having an extraordinary healing experience. I'm an ordinary woman. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a wife. I've been married almost 40 years. I live in a small town. I'm just an average woman. But I was, diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. And Mother Teresa's words continue to be a part of my work and everything I do. You'll find it in the magazine, you will find it in the on the website, you'll find it in every book I will ever write. But it is the foundation that for the work that I do and the work that I try to teach to others is that through ordinary people having extraordinary experiences comes when we silence ourselves and when we don't let all the fears overtake, our thoughts, and when we listen to what is our best way forward. I love teaching this. It's probably my favorite subject besides talking about my grandchildren, but learning to tune in to and understand that we each have a way forward. And that is the work of breast cancer wellness, and it's what I love to help women understand and for them to recognize in their own healing experiences. Okay, so to sum up about me, I'm Bev Vote. Today I'm soon to be 59 years old, and I think 59, maybe 58, I don't know, something like that. And I'm a mom, sister, grandmother, neighbor, friend, author, publisher, average woman. And I am connected with my passion for life. I'm a driven woman, and I am a purpose-filled woman. And so that's enough about me. I now want to talk with you about your healing journey, your healing experiences, and what we can all do for ourselves to help make a difference in our healing experience.